How do you create magical relationships? Hi, I'm Gary Kelly, your mindset and transformational coach. And I want to talk today a little bit about relationships because people are always asking, how do I create the perfect relationship? How do I attract the love of my life? How do I get into a space to where, I feel loved and I feel this abundance of energy from another person? And the thing is that we are attracting people from the wrong space. So most of us, when we try to get into a relationship and we get on a dating app or we start going out and meeting people, we do it from a place of, okay, from fear. Like I'm by myself and I need this person to show up in my life so that I can feel this satisfaction, this fulfillment, this companionship. But that's not what is going to be creating magical relationships. Magical relationships start first with your relationship with self. And I'm going to say it again. Magical relationships start first with your relationship with self. Because think about it. If you want to be loved and adored and felt like you're truly you're truly in this space, in this relationship that you feel the value that you're worth, you have to first give that to you. And most of us are looking outside of ourselves to feel that. We're looking outside of ourselves to gain that love, that companionship, that oneness. But most of us aren't doing the inner work. And that's where it all starts in creating the magical relationships, is by doing that inner work, by really clearing up that self-concept and love and knowing that your value is in yourself. And that's by taking care of yourself, by making sure that you feel that value, and not just feel that value when you're getting the confirmation that you're valued, because a lot of people will do that as well, to where they'll say, oh, I know my value and I know my self-worth, but then they're attracting in people who don't treat them well. They're attracting in people who don't mirror back to them what they say they believe about themselves. And so I will ask you this, like, do you really know your value and worth? Because if you truly know your value and worth, why are you entertaining breadcrumbs? Why are you entertaining people who don't see it? Why are you continuing to set boundaries that are then not respected? And I will say this, then you don't know your own worth, because you're not saying, and I don't mean like saying outwardly, because we also shouldn't have to argue with people about our self-worth. Like, I don't have to tell you what I'm worth, because I know what I'm worth. So I embody that mind, body, spirit. I act as if I am worth my value. And that doesn't mean just in my personal relationships, in my work relationships, in my professional relationships. I'm not going to allow myself to be treated in a way that I don't deem as respectful or loved or valued. So when you are accepting those breadcrumbs, when you are showing up as a version of yourself that receives things that aren't powerful, that aren't affirming, then I'm going to say that you don't know your value. And so we have to really look back and say, like, what do I believe is true about me? What do I believe is true about me in my relationships? And what behaviors in them and then am I committing to show up like that version of myself, the version of her that knows her value and worth, the version of her that won't accept any less than what she's worth. When you look at people who are royalty or people who have high value, you don't see people treating them poorly. And if you do see people treating them poorly, they don't last in that person's life. So, when you look at your circle, when you look at the relationships that you're entertaining, like, is your value and worth there? Or are you accepting things that you've said to yourself, like, oh, I would never deal with this. I would never deal with somebody who spoke to me that way. I would never deal with somebody who treated me that way. I would never deal with somebody who didn't respect me. But then what you have is people who are talking to you in ways that you don't believe to be true. You're accepting behaviors that you don't value, that are disrespectful to you. But then in turn, I will say again, that relationship, that transforming that relationship like magic starts with you first treating you that way and acting as if and showing up as a version of you that doesn't accept that. So if you want more, go ahead and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.